Well, let's dissect some of the issues arising from the coronavirus pandemic. And joining us here in Lagos is Dr. Ganiyu Jamiu, a public health physician. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
We'll also have Dr. Ibrahim Nguide, Director of Medical Laboratory Services, Borno State Hospital Management Board. Thank you for joining us on the program. Let's begin with you, Dr. Jamiu, and that is, hearing about how the Amajiri situation, the movement, the deportation, the back and forth, and some are even smuggled to their states or out of their states of origin. How do you feel, especially as we're battling to stop the spread, community transfer of COVID-19?
Actually, the issue of Almajiri is really a real concern. Why is it happening at this point when we are talking about trying to reduce community transmission? I don't know. Government need to look at this because it's really a real concern. Because their movement is like just transmitting, sharing the infection from one state to the other. Because as you can see in some states, some of these Almajiri are already infected with COVID. By trying to take them, to transport them to, mix with their parents, they end up spreading some of this infection. I think the federal government need to come in. The Presidential Task Force on COVID need to intervene on this. If not, they're all Nigerians. Why can't each respective state, devote a place, maybe a school or an institution whereby they can be taken care of pending when the epidemic subsides for a while. But the way we are being, the movement is a major concern because some of these people will end up going to, mix with their parents, and through that process, some may have been infected, and so doing that by transmitting those infections to their relatives and so on. So I think that should be a check. I'm advising the government that if it's possible, there is need to stop this movement of Almajiri. Let whatever state government can do, let them handle the Almajiris. They can just confine them to a place, provide the basic necessity, food, water in a school, and pending when the epidemic subsided. I think that will be the way forward. Thank you.
Do you think that our government, with the many measures that are being put in place, they understand the gravity of their actions? And this is when we hear that we're having more and more cases, people are not adhering to the protocol, the guidelines from the NCDC, from the PTF, and we're still having a spread.
Yes, you see, whether we like it or not, lockdown or lockdown, we are still going to get cases. The reason is because there is established community transmission of the virus. So I will advise that if it is possible, we need to, the lockdown was eased out on 4th of May, and I want to believe that there have been some gains, despite the rising number of cases. It is said that there are some people who depend on daily earning. They cannot feed for themselves. People can, go to a major work, the issue of workers being, being sacked and so on. At least that pressure has reduced a bit. What we just need to do, like, if we can borrow the idea of this Sweden model, is a new model. Since the pandemic started, Sweden has never locked down. What they did, and even recently they were commended by WHO, and they're even recommending Sweden model to every other country that is battling with this pandemic. What we need to do, there are two things. The government there should be mutual cooperation between the government and its people. What do we mean by that? That's trust and accountability. There should be clear understanding between the government and that this is a major problem and it involves every other person. Then secondly, the people must own these preventive measures. And what do I mean? It should be a collective responsibility, individual responsibility. People should look at it as, okay, this preventive measure, I'm protecting myself, I'm also protecting others. And one thing we can go by this is that, as far as we are concerned, every person is a suspected COVID case until proven otherwise, because we now have a lot of asymptomatic cases. So I think if we can go by this, and I will also plead, behavioral change is something that takes a long time. So if we can engage all the stakeholders, like all these transports, workers association, it's not a one-off talk. It should be continuous engagement. We need to reinforce these messages. We need to sustain it by engaging them, letting them, even at the park, they can, use signages. They can even use some demarcations to, implement social distancing. So they can serve as a role model. Even the banks, the bank can also
we hope
implement
that we can get to see
no,
that.
It's continue, and I want to even plead, if the government can even use that as, introduce a kind of reward system. Whenever in a park they are doing that, they can just, give like hand sanitizer or something, so that people can view it on TV and say that, okay, wow, people are really doing this, or this is what the government wants.
I wish we had more time to talk about this issue. We appreciate your time, Dr. Ganiyu Jamiu, public health physician. Thank you for joining us. Unfortunately, we could not reconnect with Dr. Ibrahim Ngude. Hopefully, we will again from Borno State.